This is the Builders Business Success Podcast for builders who want to attract more quality clients who aren't price-focused, eliminate cash flow pressure, and get paid for every quote. Here's your host, Mick Hawes.
So hey gang, welcome to another Builders Business Success Podcast episode. This podcast is specifically designed for the established builder, the problems and challenges that the established builder experiences, whether it be financial, whether it be time management, whether it be quality of customers, all of that stuff. We are endeavoring to give you ideas, solutions, tools and techniques to be able to overcome those really common ugly bits that most builders experience running a building business, particularly if you've been around for a little while and have got a team happening. In this particular episode, it's a fairly action-packed. We've got one of our Builders Business Blackbelt members. He's an absolute pocket rocket young fella. He's only about 26 years old, been in business for almost 4 years already. He came through our Blueprint program. So we've got Builders Business Blackbelt, which is our big main membership for our established builders. The entry to Builders Business Blackbelt is a thing called Blueprint, where we cover the 3 pillars. That's all we cover. And what we've found since we've been doing it this way is the progress that builders make is so rapid, it still blows me away. You know, I wish I could say I designed this with this in mind. A lot of this happened by accident, through experience, through refinement, but we've stumbled upon a process where we identify these 3 main pillars that really are essential for a building business. And we spend about 12 weeks just building those 3 pillars. Once they are built, it's kind of like a foundation. Then you can start to work on the sexy stuff. If you don't have these 3 pillars built, what tends to happen is you get sucked into working on the sexy stuff. But we all know what happens if the foundations aren't strong. A little bit of pressure, after a little while, it starts to crack, it starts to creak, it starts to fall over. It's the same thing with building a building business. And Joel is a classic example of someone who's come through that process, built those foundations, and he's absolutely going ahead in leaps and bounds building his business. Like most builders, he's incredibly impatient. I stand back and watch what he's done and I am inspired. He is impatient. He still gets the shits with things and wants things to happen a lot faster, but that's just us humans, you know. Nothing ever happens as fast as we'd like. So we're going to be talking to Joel. He's going to be talking about his challenges and his struggles with the marketing side of the business and doing video. We're also going to be doing another excerpt from our conversations. We have a daily conversation with our Builders Business Blackbelt members, the daily momentum call, where we share wins, share lessons, ask questions, and it really ramps up the speed of progress for the guys that participate in that. And every so often I have something that's worth repeating, and we're going to throw one of those little gems, hopefully, into the conversation today. Going to answer a very commonly asked question in our Q&A section. So it's a pretty action-packed episode. Can't wait to share it with you. Let's get on with it. Okay, let's fire into this with our conversation with Joel Miner, young builder, just been around for a short while, making incredible progress with his business. So I started to have a chat with him to find out more about his journey, what he found challenging, so you guys can learn from Joel and perhaps smooth out those road bumps. So let's listen to our conversation with Joel Miner.
At first, didn't really want to do it. I guess sometimes it gets a bit overwhelming with doing the whole looking at what their problem is and then being able to trying to think of that person, being in that person's shoes, and then trying to understand their problem, and then obviously giving information away without, I guess, trying to be too technical about it, which is sort of probably what I've found now. But putting content out to start off with, I was sort of doing, but not to the extent I was doing now. So it was more just a post here and there and bits and pieces, which you see a lot of other people do as well. But coming back to the consistency and finding, making sure that it does get one post at least, and one post a day, or at least 4 or 5 days a week at bare minimum, 2 or 3 bits of content. But I think just getting the whole just doing it part is probably the hardest. We were talking to Tom about this the other day. He was suggesting start with what's easiest. And I thought that was a really good point, because instead of trying to get straight in the deep end, because a lot of people don't like looking at themselves in the camera, just starting with what was easy and, posting an article or just a post with this and that, and then work on it from there.
What did you find more challenging? Was it coming up with the content or just filming it, like having to talk to the camera, which was more difficult?
First, probably a bit of both, but at first, probably coming up with the content to talk about, and then, talking to the camera was probably a hard thing. That was probably the most challenging, but after a while, it doesn't take long to get used to it. But I think the biggest thing is people worry too much about what they look like on camera rather than more or less what you're talking about. Most of the time I just grab the button and you just post it and then don't look at it. and then once you post it, you'll be sitting down and smoking. One of the boys will play all the content you hear at the back, and there's my voice again.
Did you have, or do you have any tips as far as how to get over that? I mean, I know some people, they worry too much and it prevents them from pressing the go button right at the start. Like, as you said, after a little while you get used to it. But what advice, tips could you give anyone to just get started, like press the button and just get started?
It depends on whether you want to own a job or a business and have something that'll come really good out of doing that. And I've found over time that the power of social media is pretty significant. And if you don't keep up with the times with doing the whole thing, you're going to get left behind pretty quickly. Or if you end up being too late to it, you're going to find it really hard to adapt later on. So why not move while everything else is moving? Because I had this conversation with a plumber the other day, and I was blown away that the conversation I had with him. He said to me, I don't want to be on video. And I sort of thought, he was having a bit of a laugh about it. And by the time he'd said that, I already recorded something, put it on Instagram. And he found out that from someone else, that because he doesn't have any of that stuff, he found out from someone else that it was on there, and he literally just cracked the shits and walked away from it. And I was blown away on how he just didn't want to be on there, didn't want his car, his face, his nothing. I was sort of blown away on, which is totally fine. And I respect that. If I didn't realize the seriousness of it at the time. But I think, moving with it. But the easiest thing, I think, going back to your actual question is just starting with something simple, posting a photo, an article, and just being consistent with that. And then moving into videos. But the only way to do videos are hands down probably one of the best things to get out there, because the traction you get with them, people get to know you quite quickly, what sort of person you are, how you work, regardless. On the overview of what you post, I think it's more or less about just getting the content out there. It's just putting it out there and not worrying about what anyone else is going to say, think, or do. But, within 6 to 12 months, people are going to, they're not going to remember the first thing you posted to what you're doing now. So, and the more you post, the better you're going to get, the quicker you're going to move. But just, if you don't like being video and camera, audio, I do a podcast and stuff with one of the other guys in the group. So, but I think audio is another good one to start, even audio with your clients, just over the phone, and record them if they're happy to go with it, and just let them know, and just getting some questions going and ask them. And the best part is, if you don't like it, well, you either cut the bits out or you don't post it. So, for some reason, every time as soon as you hit the record button, everything just goes,
Thank God for editing. You mentioned, 6 to 12 months. Tell me about that, like the mindset, and I don't know what you were thinking back then, how quickly you would get traction. I mean, there are some builders who think, and I even get messages through the Facebook group, what should I put up as a post? And it's like, it kind of doesn't matter, because you've got to have the quantity. What were you thinking back then? How did you think you were going to be able to get away with just, a post here and there? And then what have you learnt about quantity and I suppose being regular with a minimum amount? Just finding out what people are doing, and just like, I don't get into technical side of stuff because I don't really understand it all, but just basic, just being, there's a lot of people out there will watch your stuff that you have no idea how many people are watching, regardless of views, likes, or whatever, or someone talks to someone else. But at first it's like, how am I going to be able to do this? And then I sort of just stripped it back and went to just post to what I'm comfortable with posting. And I probably more or less veer off the track a little bit of going to the whole, understanding someone's problem and then giving out information. I probably do more of almost like a recorded diary of what we're doing on jobs, and try and give out bits of information from there. And I think just posting, just get as much content out there as you can, because, I think, I've had, my brother said to me the other day, he's like, a couple of the guys that follow your page said, you post a lot of content on Facebook, it's a bit annoying. And that's exactly what you want. Because the people, there's two types, when it comes to that, I feel there's two types of people, because talk to clients and they will say,
oh, I love your content, it's awesome, can't get enough of it. And then you talk to people that you know will never ever build or do anything with you, and they go, it's quite annoying, or they don't really listen to much of it, which is exactly what I'm after. I don't want people, I want to annoy people enough so they leave almost. And if they're not leaving, then get more content out there. Find someone else to help you do. Like I have a couple of people that help me out with all this stuff too. Got a guy who does a bit of recording on site for us, he does video editing as well. Have another one who just posts some content for me, just schedules week to week. I've got a bank of content. So, making sure you save all your content and just having it somewhere easy to access, preferably find someone else to post it, because it's not that hard to post once it's edited and it's sitting there. It takes someone an hour a week to max. Not even that. It takes longer to upload all the videos and stuff into Facebook than it does actually to actually put a quick caption, where you go, post, schedule for the whole week, done.
What you've noticed in the reactions of your prospects / customers. So, does it affect the relationship that you have when people become a customer because they've seen your stuff? And what have you noticed in the difference of how your prospects interact with you when they've seen your stuff?
There's a lot of people that sort of hear us, talk about, well, I'll watch all these stuff, it's really good, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to getting clients coming through the door, whether we have an initial meeting or we do a site inspection, actually had a meeting last night with a lady or couple, and they had gone through and she'd come through. She's like, oh, I've seen all your stuff on Instagram and stuff you're posting. We just want you to do our job and blah, blah, blah. And when you tell them this is your process and this is how we work and this is what we need to do, they just go, yeah, no worries. They don't have an issue. Probably one of the best ones I've had was a lady. I take sort of two pathways when it comes to people coming through the door. Either do a site inspection or we do an initial meeting for the larger jobs or bigger scale renovations. And this was just a on-site consultation, as we call it. And basically we'd charge a fee of $150 to do that. And when we come out to do it, this lady had rung me and got in contact, and she'd been watching my stuff for probably about a month or two. I could see her liking all the stuff come through, and I'm like, wouldn't be surprised if she calls me shortly. And within about 2 months of her watching me stuff, called me. And then I told her, before I could even finish the words of my sentence saying, hey, we charge a fee, she said, yep, that was no worries. And within an hour of me sending the invoice, it was paid before I'd even gone to site. And she got there and said, I feel like I know you. I've watched that much of your videos and that stuff. And it was a little bit weird, because when I went to see her, she was like, I'd met her before almost. So I just had to go along with it. But that's the kind of impact it can have if you're consistent and, you just put yourself out there. Sometimes it doesn't really matter on the specifics of content. It's just people getting to know you while you're putting it all out there. So
there are obviously builders out there, potentially builders that would be listening to this, and they just say to themselves, like, that might be all right for him, but I just haven't got time for that. I haven't got time for that sort of stuff, or, I don't know how to do it. I can't be bothered that, or that's bullshit. I'm a good builder. I do good building. I don't need to do that crap. What have you got to say to those people who come up with whatever excuse they can to resist doing this?
I think it comes back to sort of, I touched on the point before where I said it depends whether you want to own a job or you want to own a business. My sort of end goal is, trying to have a business that either runs itself or can, you can teach someone else to do that sort of thing. But I think if you haven't got time, like, it doesn't matter how busy you are. I think the best time to post content and trial it is when you are super busy, because you ain't scrounging around trying to find a way or a quick solution for it to work. Like, when you're busy is the best time for it to happen. So if you haven't got time, you've either got to make time. And if you don't want to do it, well, that's fine. But I think, you look at any business that's doing quite well, the marketing side of things, or when it comes to, they produce a lot of content and they work quite well. So I think it's a personal on what people want, I guess, rather than, whether they just happy to do what they do or they want to run a really successful and have people come to your door wanting to wait in the line no matter how long and pay premium price for it, which I guess it's not every builder's. It depends how far you want to go and whether you want to do that too. So, it doesn't take a lot of time a week to do it. Start off with one video a week, then the first month, next month, 2 videos a week, or 3, and just keep slowly up, or 2 videos a week and 2 article posts or 2 static posts. And ideally it'd be good to get somewhere with around 10 posts a day, morning through to night. I would say aim for, minimum 1 day a week to start, one day a week minimum, but then really hit that target of 7 days a week, every day, at least one piece of content that doesn't take long.
In case somebody wants to spy on your content and start to look at what the sort of things you do and what you put out, where do they find you? Where do they stalk you?
Facebook is probably the best one. Refine Space Constructions or just Joel Miner. There's a business page there, so click on and have a look. Otherwise Instagram as well, but yeah, mainly Facebook, YouTube channel, but probably massive amount of content goes on Facebook. Feel free to jump on and have a look and see what it's not that hard.
We've had the cameras rolling just in case Mick said something worthwhile. Great news! It happened this week. So let's check out this week's What'd I Say?
What happens is that the issue is always outside of our comfort zone. Your choice is to step outside the comfort zone and meet that challenge, at which time your comfort zone increases in size. But the cool thing about it is this is a business challenge. But what happens when you go outside your comfort zone to meet that challenge is the whole comfort zone starts to get bigger, which means that there are issues that happen in your family life, with your health, in your social life, every other area of life. When you step outside your comfort zone just in one area, every area gets easier to manage in life. What the end result of that is life needs to keep coming up with bigger problems for you. And I've had plenty of people where I've shared this theory with, this idea with, and they just reject it out of hand because they go, well, I don't want to deal with the problems that I've got now, let alone get bigger ones. What they don't realise that they're setting themselves up for is the exact opposite happens. And I'm sure you know plenty of people like this, that if you don't go outside your comfort zone and meet the challenges that life's putting in front of you, the comfort zone shrinks in all areas. So do you know anyone who is just constantly complaining, and the smallest things to you come across as a major drama to them, and it's the end of the world to them? And it's because that they choose not to challenge themselves and step outside that comfort zone. For me, it's really important to get the message across to everybody. There's a little saying that says, there are no problems, just opportunities brilliantly disguised. If you can live your life like that and look at this as an example, as an opportunity, but you've got to ask yourself, what is good about this and what can I learn from this? Those two questions are super, super important to the expansion of your comfort zone. It's one of those crazy things that many of the Black Belt members have learned early on and they've implemented it, but you forget about it pretty quickly, because I have regular conversations with people when they've got the shits about something, and it's something substantial, and it's probably something that, somebody new to this environment would just freak out about. But I've got to take them back to what they were thinking were super, super important priorities and end of the world sort of situations in their mind 2 years ago or 4 years ago. And now those things still happen, and they just take it in their stride. Like they've got systems and procedures to deal with it. It just doesn't affect them mentally or emotionally. For both Andrew and Jeff, I would encourage you to look at this situation as an opportunity. And it's not necessarily an opportunity in the specific area that it's challenging you in, but it's definitely an opportunity to manage your state, to ask better questions. It's definitely an opportunity to go absolutely 10 to the dozen with profit first, like to really change the financial measurement and management of the company. There's lots of opportunity. It's just your challenge to find it. And I go back to my initial comment that the real key to this on a daily basis is to compartmentalize it so you don't allow it to consume you. You give it a certain amount of time from this time to this time. So it's like a time block approach to it. So you ensure you have other time blocks to work on things that are probably more important than this. They just don't have the same urgency as this. Please understand that I've had this conversation with many builders specifically about homeowners' warranty insurance. It happens a lot. One of the biggest questions I get through the Facebook group when we're talking to people who are applying for our blueprint program, this question comes up a lot, is how do I get paid for quotes? I've been listening to your stuff. I've been watching your stuff. We started telling people we now charge for quotes. They're going, well, that's nice for you. I won't be paying you for a quote. I'll go and talk to someone who will do it for free. I can't get it to work. My answer is pretty much always the same. What you've basically done there is It's the equivalent to going to your favourite restaurant. You've been going there for ages and they just put the prices up on you. And if they put the prices up significantly, you'll probably, you won't say anything. You'll just leave and you won't come back. What happens when people are expecting a builder to do a quote for free, which still grinds my gears. People just don't get how much time and effort goes into putting even a small quote together for a bathroom or a kitchen or a small reno. There's a lot of time, and it's not even the time that's the pain, it's the experience and the knowledge that must be present to go in to put something together that is reliable and is going to be accurate. If you are expected to do that for free, you don't have a better story to tell. People are going to tell you to rack off hairy legs. They're not going to go with the payment. However, if you went back to your restaurant that you always go to and the maitre d' grabbed you by the elbow, let's just assume that this is a COVID-free environment again, like it used to be, and he walks you to the table and says, sir, we are so excited to have you in our restaurant. We've been working really hard to source new ingredients. The chef has been working like crazy to create a new menu. We've got a new wine guy that marries the wine up with the food that you choose. It changes the experience. We're super pumped about it. We can't wait for you to experience it. Please sit down. I want to talk to you at the end of it and get your feedback about your experience. And you sit down and they bring amazing wine, they bring amazing food, the service is amazing, and you kind of look at the menu and the prices are significantly more than what they used to be. But because the experience is significantly different, you don't notice the price difference. Even though their prices went up, you feel that the value you receive was just outstanding, so you're more than happy to pay the price. That's what we're finding with our Builders Business Blackbelt members, our Blueprint members, who just within the first couple of weeks of learning the process are getting a feedback like, yeah, that's cool. In fact, this is a much better way of doing it. Why don't all builders do it this way? Is the feedback that they get. Now, I've got to be absolutely transparent with you, and those very same builders, when they're first learning the process, are incredibly skeptical. They just can't see how it happens. Fortunately, they follow the process and they ask the question or put there is a fee for this proposal on the table, and they kind of sit there frightened like a deer in the headlights, wondering what's going to happen. They're going to get told no, and they still can't believe. Every time it happens multiple times, and they still go, I still can't believe I get the response that I do. But everyone says after they've done it, they go, I'm never going back to free quotes ever again. Because it's not even about being paid for your quote. It's about changing your focus and your communication, the process that you put your prospects through. That's the thing that makes the difference. And the real value in it isn't getting paid, it's changing the relationship dynamic between the builder and the client. So what ends up happening, not only do you get paid for your proposal, but the client and you have a much better relationship and a much better experience throughout the build. That's the thing that makes the big difference. It changes the quality and the number of referrals you get. Everything changes by just changing this one dynamic at the start of the process. So if you're struggling a little bit with that, I have a little tool that I'm happy to send you out. It's called the Free Quotes Suck Explainer. So if you want a copy of that, it's just got some stories in it, some guides in it to help you be able to explain to your prospects why free sucks and why investing a little bit of money and doing it properly at the start can save your clients a ton of time and a ton of frustration. It's just one little sheet. It's pretty simple, but it makes a big difference. If you want a copy of it, all you need to do is reach out to me at mick@buildersbusinessblackbelt.com.au. If there's a comment section under where you're watching this video, you can just pop a comment in there and let us know that you want a copy of it, and we'll shoot it out to you straight away. Hope that's helpful. So what's the takeaway from this episode? For me, it is being open being open to doing things a little different. I know when Joel first started and he was thinking about jumping on the Blueprint program, there was a lot of hesitation. But I've got to tip my hat to that guy. He struggles. He is challenged by things, but he's always on the momentum calls that we have every day, and he's asking questions, and he's just being completely open and transparent and saying, I still haven't got this, or I've got this problem. He's always asking questions and asking for help. I think most builders find it really difficult to ask for help. They think that they should know all of the answers. I should be able to deal with this. It's not that simple. The key to the success of our Black Belt program, I believe, isn't me. It's not the information. It is the community. When you get in that community, you feel incredibly supported. You learn from other people's mistakes. You learn from other people's successes. And the people in the group are more than happy to help share resources. You know, we've got a bunch of people, they all do something different and all share it. So it increases the speed at which people progress and improve their business. For this to work, you need to be open. You need to be open to change. And I know that I get quite negative comments from time to time in Facebook or about my videos and so forth, calling me all sorts of names and saying, what the hell would you know? You're not a builder. Well, I don't have to be a builder to know that this works, because I'm surrounded by builders who had a bunch of problems, who were open enough to implement these ideas. They give me feedback on a daily basis on how this is working, and it is working incredibly well for them. So if that's something that you want to learn more about, I'd love you to book a call. Underneath this video, there's a schedule a call button. Just hit that. It'll take you to a form. Fill out the form. Tell us a little bit about your business, and we can jump on a real quick phone call to see, firstly, if we can help, and if we can, well, we'll figure out how that might work. If you're just listening to the audio only version of this podcast, all you need to do is navigate to buildersbusinessblackbelt.com.au. There's a big orange button in the middle of the top of the website. Just click that and it'll take you to that same form, and away we go. So I hope this episode was helpful. I hope you got a lot of insights from Joel. He is an absolute gun. I hope that we get to talk to you in person in the not too distant future to help you overcome some of the challenges that you have. You've got two options. You can keep doing it the way you've been doing it, but as Dr. Phil would say, how's that working out for you? If you want to get the benefits that Joel and other Black Belt and Blueprint members are getting, it might work for you, it might not, but the first thing we need to do is just have a conversation. So hit that button and let's have the conversation. That is it for this episode. We'll be back with another episode before you know it. I hope this was beneficial to you. Hope we get to talk to you in person in the not too distant future. I'm Mick Hawes from Builders Business Blackbelt. That is it for this episode. Bye for now.
Okay, that's the podcast. If you have a question or want to know how Mick can help with your building business, email your request to mick@buildersbusinessblackbelt.com.au. Do it now.